Good morning. Everybody loves Mock's background. Soak it in while I tell you what's coming up on today's show. Mika and Joe sitting in a tree with Trump. What's even going on? Pennsylvania voting is already borked. We saw that coming. And Palin, Sarah Palin. Haven't heard from her in a while.
I know.
She's bitter.
She's got a little bitterness.
Little bitter. Just a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. All that and so much more. Please check us out on all of our socials and click subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done that already. chicksontheright.com/links. Also, sign up for the next free live webinar this Thursday. It's happening this Thursday, you guys.
This week.
3:30 p.m. Pacific. I think that's 4:30 my time.
I don't think so. I think it's 5:30.
5:30 my time, 6:30 your time. That's right. 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. Calling 866-779-RISK or go to knowyourriskradio.com. That's our good friend Zach at Bulwark. Do it. So how's that hotel, Mott?
You know, it's fine. It's a little home two suites.
Yeah.
By Hilton.
Nice little background there.
Yeah, it's completely fine. I did mention pre-show, just so everybody's aware, it's entirely possible that as we get close to the end of the show, because I don't have a sign to hang on the door that says "Don't bother me, housekeeping," it's entirely possible that we'll be having a Tommy Boy moment. Housekeeping. No, Steve, this is not my new house. This is a hotel. And I will be here today and tomorrow. And then you will be doing the show with our good friend Chad Benson on Thursday and Friday.
The Chad. I'll be doing it with the Chad on Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday.
That's right.
And then she's getting moved.
Yes.
Miriam will be getting moved. I will be holding down the fort. And then next week we will have a couple days off for turkey eating.
Yeah. And I hope everybody's ready for that. Yeah. Everybody needs to be getting on the turkey stick.
Yeah.
Because it's Thanksgiving, and that is one of the greatest holidays in the history of holidays. So eat up, put your pie pants on, and get ready for some good eats.
That's right.
Here's an interesting little bit of juiciness that we're going to see become a fight in Congress. And that is that we now have the very first trans Congress member, apparently. I didn't even bother looking up what this dude's name is. I think it's McBride something or other. And so Nancy Mace, who is now my congresswoman, she is not having it. She is already trying to introduce an anti-trans bathroom resolution at the Capitol because she knows that this McBride person is coming and she does not want to see that man in the women's restroom. So she's introducing a resolution saying that's not allowed. So there's going to be a fight.
A fight in Congress. Like it's come to Congress. This fight has come to Congress. I'm there for it. I can't wait to see what happens.
Exactly.
I love this.
It's gonna be something. So just get ready for that because that's exciting. And then yesterday we mentioned that, or maybe it was the day before, I can't remember. But we mentioned that Dennis Prager had been involved in a bad fall and has been hospitalized as a result. Someone from his team released a video with an update early yesterday afternoon.
As you know, we are missing the other half of Dennis and Julie today. As many of you probably know by now, on Tuesday, Dennis suffered a terrible fall and he was immediately hospitalized. He entered surgery, and now we are praying for the best possible outcome. I know that so many of you just want information about Dennis's condition, and I promise you that we will be more forthcoming in the coming days with that information as we learn it. But we don't know very much right now. What I will say, though, is that tragically, this is not a he will be back next week situation. This is a long haul and a long recovery for Dennis. And that is why I humbly ask you for your prayers. So many of you, Dennis and Julie listeners, Fireside Chat listeners, Dennis Prager radio show listeners, people from all walks of life and all faiths have written the most gracious messages to Sue, Dennis's wife, to me, to Sean, to Alan Estrin, and to Dennis's extended family members with your support and your promises of prayer. And I just want you to know how much all of us deeply appreciate those messages. And although the situation is quite somber, they do seem to be working. Since Tuesday, every single day, we have seen modest improvements. Modest, but nevertheless improvements.
So
That's
that
great.
was something, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And then later in the afternoon, shoot, I'm sorry, that did not stay up on the screen. Later in the afternoon, they posted this. Dear friends, here's the latest on Dennis. Progress has been slow but steady. There's still a lot of swelling and inflammation around his neck and upper spine. Until that recedes, it's hard to get a good sense of where this is all headed. But rest assured, the overall trend is positive. Patience is required. But as we all know, having patience is hard. His body needs time to heal. Let's give it to him.
That's great.
So yeah,
That's
that
good.
is
Yeah.
that is the update on Dennis Prager. And I know a lot of you follow him. And so I'm sure that that was of interest and we want to keep you updated as much as we know about it. And that is what we know.
Okay.
Speaking of better health, can you hold up the field of greens?
I can. This is the kind that I have. This is
Okay.
mine.
All right.
I stock up on this because it tastes like sweet tea. I know you like the berry stuff.
I do. I love the wild berry stuff
Yeah,
because
I
it
like
tastes to
this.
me like blue. They've named all of their products wrong. I
They
guess.
have. Yeah. They need to check in with us on that.
Right.
Mhm.
Because the one that you like is the lemon lime, which tastes like sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
The one that I like is the wild berry, which tastes like a blueberry juice when you mix it into
Mhm.
water. And of course,
Yep.
this is a green powder. It's Field of Greens. It's a green powder that basically mimics or gives you all of the minerals, vitamins, nutrients that you would normally get from fruits and veggies. Because everybody knows it's very, very hard to get the amount of fruits and veggies in your diet that you're supposed to get. And this is the way to cheat and still get all the goodness from fruits and veggies into your diet in a yummy tasting drink. And in fact, Field of Greens is now going to be they've been approved to be part of this university study that looks at biological age and real age and how your health can be determined by the stuff that you put into your body. And so Field of Greens believes that you're going to notice a difference in your lab results at the doctors, or you'll get your money back. That's how much they believe in it. And right now they've got a big Black Friday sale happening. So join us in better health this Black Friday by visiting fieldofgreens.com and then use code SALE. So it's a little bit different than normal. So just make sure to visit fieldofgreens.com, use promo code SALE, and you're going to get big old discounts on their yummy green powder. So taste is a deal breaker for us. If it doesn't taste good, we're not going to drink it. And I can promise you this stuff is the bomb. Fieldofgreens.com, use code SALE. All right. Let's talk about what's going on in Pennsylvania, because it is a bunch of freaking BS. They keep continuing to count votes that are not legal for them to count. And what that has resulted in is that Kamala Harris, and this was as of yesterday, is just 267 votes away from winning the county. Okay, this is how nuts this is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that the Democratic commissioner, he just he openly defied a court order, like not to count illegal, misdated ballots,
not signed ballots. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
I mean, like, look who's
about it.
Yeah. Like, look who's the election denier now.
Yeah. I mean, there's actual video of these people discussing how they're going to brazenly break the law.
Yeah.
Here they are.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Oh my God.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Who is this broad?
I know, right? So
wow.
now the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and this is the second time they have again ruled in favor of Dave McCormick, who of course is the Republican senator-elect, and the RNC demanding that Democrat counties stop counting misdated, undated, or otherwise disqualified ballots as they basically attempt to steal the election for Democrat Bob Casey. And Bob Casey will not concede, even though he's not going to get close enough unless they keep counting illegal ballots. He's not going to get close enough at all to pull this off.
These people are insane.
It's crazy.
They're insane. They're cheaters.
They're big fat cheaters.
And they're like, hi, we're cheaters. Hi.
Right.
Oh my God.
And now the RNC wants to possibly initiate criminal prosecution against those county officials, which go.
Do it.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Here is Neil Cavuto and guest talking about this most recent ruling from the Supreme Court, from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and what it all means. This is from yesterday.
Hey, Neil. Well, as you just said, they ruled that, but this is the second time, okay, the Supreme Court there in Pennsylvania made this decision, but the recount does continue as the Supreme Court ruled again. They cannot count these ballots right now that are illegal. So I don't know why they were trying to count them anyway. They didn't have the dates. They didn't have the signatures. So the whole thing was going a little bit wrong there. As Democrats, though, on some election boards said they were openly breaking the law because they said the law has been broken in the past with other things. So they were counting ballots that were missing signatures and dates to try and put a spotlight on this, they said, to overturn the election results. The decision comes more than a week after the Associated Press called the Senate race. That's when Republican Senator-elect Dave McCormick, UC, beat out incumbent Democrat Senator Bob Casey. It was by more than 17,000 votes, okay, in the first count, so it wasn't that close for this recount. So the McCormick team says they're very confident. They're not worried about it. They say they have a big enough lead that these, quote, shenanigans ultimately aren't going to matter. But some Republicans have said this is just accusing Democrats of, hypocrisy here. Tom Cotton was on Fox News earlier, Neil, and said Democrats were doing what they accused Donald Trump of doing here, defying a court order. So right now, though, the main thing is the recount continues. Calls for Casey to concede just keep getting louder here. We know Republican Senator Mike Lee has been threatening to not seat him, saying that he will not be in the Senate no matter what happens if he refuses to kind of go here with the results. Also, Senate Majority Leader-elect John Thune of South Dakota had called this a blatant attempt by the Dems to violate the rule of law and undermine the electoral process. So back out here in the newsroom, we can tell you this is just all developing, but that Supreme Court ruling not once but now twice that you cannot count illegal ballots. All right.
I mean, this isn't hard. And they're defying reality and they're defying the law, which is, pretty apropos of Democrats, right? I mean, this is what they do.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, reality? We don't understand that.
The Supreme Court of the United States is saying that we can't forgive student loans. Let's go ahead and just keep doing that.
Yeah.
We have immigration laws. Let's just continue to break all those.
Yeah. Let's just pick and choose what laws we want to follow. Can we throw the bad bleach lady with their hair in jail? Can we do that? Because I mean, it's like these people are nuts.
Yeah, they're
bad. Nuts.
It's bad. There was a Wall Street Journal editor, I think, on with Fox News to talk about this too. It is shocking how brazenly and openly they are defying what the Supreme Court of their own state is saying. Here he is to weigh in.
Is an assistant editor for the Wall Street Journal editorial page and a Fox News contributor. Your reaction, sir?
It's amazing. It's breathtaking. Just open defiance of the law, not even trying to make a legal argument, just saying we don't have to follow the law because we don't feel like it. And as your viewers can probably guess, this isn't sort of some obscure old provision of law. This is very clear in state law. You have to sign and date the mailed ballot. It's also very clear when you go to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania website. Here are the rules. It tells voters what you have to do. And so for people in Bucks County, commissioners, officials in Bucks County and elsewhere, it's an outrage. And we're not hearing much, sadly, from state officials in Pennsylvania. This would be a moment for Governor Josh Shapiro, who has given the impression that he's one of the more sensible, reasonable, moderate Democrats, was opposed by the left wing to show that he's not a partisan hack. And I don't think we're hearing much from him.
It really is incredible.
Oh, looks like he is a partisan hack.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, really. Shocker. I mean, this is the thing. If it were happening on the other side, by golly, he'd be speaking out.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Exactly.
But it would never happen on the other side. Because this is the thing, because we actually look at laws and we're like, oh, that's the law. Okay, we're going to follow it. You know, I mean, it's like, it's maddening.
And the fact that California is still freaking counting ballots. Are you kidding me?
I know. The way that they do it is, I don't even understand the way they do the counting.
It makes no sense.
It makes
zero sense.
Why can't they do it like everybody else? It's stupid.
I will never understand it. And the fact that voter ID would eliminate so many problems, and they just, and like, what is it? 83% of the country is in favor of voter ID and election integrity laws, and Democrats will not listen. They are so hell-bent on cheating. They will not listen to the most common sense fixes. I cannot. You guys, you need to be ready for all possible. Look, what is that? What you got?
It's vegetable beef.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my jam. Vegetable beef.
So you've been busting into the emergency food supply too. Admit it.
It's so big. It makes so much, you guys.
I know. Well, that makes 8 servings.
Yeah.
That feeds 8 people.
It's like, it's good stuff. Yeah.
And that's the thing about the food from ReadyWise, not even just the soups, but the foods in general. You can't, I know you're supposed to save them for emergencies. This is all about prepping and being prepared for emergencies.
Right.
But we have been busting into that stuff. The potato soup is my favorite. It is so good. But all of the food from ReadyWise.com is amazing. And it stores forever. You can keep it forever. You can get all different kinds of packages to have emergency preparedness for yourself, for members of your family, in all kinds of time increments. So maybe you just want to have 3 days worth of food on hand. Fine. They've got a package for you. Maybe you want to have 3 months or 6 months or a year's worth of food because you're like ultra pepper and good for you. They have the packages for you. And they even have specialized bundles. Like they have buckets of freeze-dried fruits and veggies, for example, all that taste delicious. And you can use our code CHICKS20, that's CHICKS20 at checkout for 20% off of your entire order at ReadyWise.com, ReadyWise.com. Check it out. Amazingly delicious stuff, you guys. ReadyWise.com. Don't forget code CHICKS20. Okay, so the big story of yesterday, and it happened, I think, during our show, is that Mika and Morning Joe decided to go on their show and grovel essentially to their audience about how they instigated a visit to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump. And here is how they explained it.
Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
They are so desperate.
God.
I mean, the desperation, they are grasping. Their jobs are in peril. And it is so obvious to anybody with half a firing synapse in their brain. That is exactly what they're doing. Like literally, what was it? Just a couple weeks ago. This is a direct quote from Joe. If you can't draw the parallels between him and Hitler, well, you're just stupid.
Oh my God.
That's a direct quote. Okay. So like, why would you want to talk to Hitler? Why would you want to do that? What an asshole. And now they're groveling. Like, come on. You cannot tell me that this is sheer desperation. I know I'm supposed to give grace and forgive and like people should extend olive branches. Trump is the better guy. The fact that
he absolutely is. There was a screenshot of a tweet that he allegedly put out, and I fell for it too because I was seeing it everywhere. But basically, it was super Trumpy and like saying how they begged to come to Mar-a-Lago, and he was making fun of them essentially. And it did sound very, very much like something he would say, but it turned out to not be real. And so I was looking and looking and looking. Well, did he say anything for his part about this meeting? And essentially, he talked to Fox and said, I have no problem talking with anybody. He was so magnanimous, so gracious about it. And so, and I almost can't believe it because to me, there's a part of me that just thinks he should say, screw you. I'm not going to talk to you.
You literally for 7 years, you've called me basically Hitler. Yeah. You've demonized me. You have encouraged so much craziness in the world. And like that whole 5 years of political warfare, you're the ones who are the war wagers. You've made it so people have tried to kill me. Like, you're the problem. You too are part of the problem. You're part of the machine that has made it so people have tried to off me. Like, the fact that he let those people back into his inner circle and he talked to them for an hour and a half shows you what kind of a guy he is. He is so much better of a person than those two will ever be. So we made the right choice. We made the absolute right choice. Because I tell you what, people on the left wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have done it. Trump is a better person, period.
Well, this is not my new office, you guys. I'm in a hotel. This is so embarrassing because my house won't be as nice as this hotel to people. Everyone's like, oh my God, your office is so amazing.
It'll be way better. Her house will be way better. Yeah.
There is a lot of reaction, apparently, from all sides. Like Mika and Joe are getting slammed by their audience because amazingly, they do have followers who watch them unironically. Yeah. And those followers are pissed. They're like, how dare you go and visit Hitler, essentially. So there's been a lot of reaction. Some of it has been hilarious. And of course, we would be remiss if we did not play reaction from Scott Jennings.
Here we go.
Doing this why? I know why. It's not about ratings. It's not about ratings.
I'm amazed. I did not expect Hitler to get so many meeting requests. First from Joe Biden, now from Mika and Joe. It's amazing that literal Hitler is getting all these meeting requests. And what it tells me, Professor, is that all the rhetoric that came from the left, from the Democrats, from the White House, from Kamala Harris and everyone else before the election, all of the rhetoric, the fascism, the Hitler, the Nazi rally at it was all a bunch of BS. They didn't mean any of it. And if I were in the Democrat sort of rabble's shoes, I would be looking at all my leaders and going, did you just BS me for an entire 6 weeks before the election?
That's right. Yeah. What else did they lie about? What else did they lie about every single day to your face? Because they're all liars. Lie, 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 lie.
Everybody should be asking themselves that about every last topic.
Every single one of those people that were like, oh my God, he's absolutely Hitler. He's the same thing. And all of his followers are all a bunch of Nazis. What else do they lie to you about every single day? They lie constantly. I mean, because now they're like canoodling with Hitler. What does that say about them? Good Lord.
I know. They just can't have it all the ways. And they're trying to. And it's just, it's so fun to watch.
It is. It's fun to watch, but it's also just, it's gross.
Yeah.
Like these people are gross.
Yep. I don't know how many folks since the last time that we mentioned Venice AI to y'all, which I think was last week. Hopefully a bunch of you have had a chance to try it out because it is so much fun, you guys. So if you're looking for a ChatGPT player, an AI type of setup like ChatGPT that isn't censory, that doesn't favor the left, which you know that ChatGPT has been shown to do over and over and over again, that doesn't try to prevent you from creating, say, an image of a political figure that makes fun of them, for example, because there's a lot of other AI platforms that will block you from being able to do those things, and that are constantly stealing your information. They are tracking what you're asking of ChatGPT or other AI platforms. Venice AI does not do that. Everything that you ask is stored locally on your own machine. And the creativity that it affords you is so awesome, and it's uncensored. So those are the two benefits of Venice AI. And you can visit venice.ai/chicks. You can experience private, uncensored AI. When you use promo code CHICKS, you will get 20% off of their already ridiculously low subscription price annually of $49. That is nothing. If you try to subscribe to the other ones, it's like $300. This is only $49 plus an additional 20% off. And do it now if you have interest, because they are going to be having to increase their prices just to stay in the game. And it's well worth investing now and getting your annual subscription now with that huge discount, because it allows you unlimited questions, unlimited queries. Right now, if you do the free version, there's obviously a limit. And so you want to be untethered to any kind of limit. So go to venice.ai/chicks, and don't forget to use code CHICKS to get your massively huge discount on their massively already low price. Venice.ai/chicks. You guys remember that Nikki Haley now has a podcast. She has her own show.
Really?
And she too was talking about the Mika and Joe hullabaloo. Here is Nikki Haley.
Zelensky and Joe Scarborough tore me up when I said anything about voting for Donald Trump or what I agreed with him on, even though I criticized him when I thought he was wrong. I praised him when I thought he was good. They tore me up. But the truth is, it's not that they suddenly saw the light. It's they saw the ratings. That's right. I mean, let's be clear. They saw the ratings tank, and they realized, oh, we better get on with Donald Trump, or else we're not going to have a show.
Right. Yeah. I'm so glad she has a podcast to say that.
I mean, that's what she's doing now, because she's obviously not been invited to do any kind of cabinet position. So she's podcasting now.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, she's right about that. I think we said that though, because their ratings are tanking. They're desperate. It's just sheer, complete desperation.
Have you heard any more, like, if they're still for sale, or because remember there was that rumor, that like MSNBC was for sale. I haven't heard an update about it.
I haven't either. I don't know. I do. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how their ratings do though. How MSNBC does in general.
Oh, they are
in the next 4 years.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Because what are they gonna talk about? What are they gonna do? Because there's gonna be so much winning. I don't know. Seriously, he's gonna knock it out of the park. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. I guess they could demonize stuff like the deportation and whatnot. They're gonna be like, oh God, these poor people, these poor criminals. What are we gonna do?
Well, I mean, they're ripping on all the nominations. Right. They're gonna bitch about them. Although I saw a headline too about even CNN, like the top dog at CNN has been telling everybody at CNN, like, moderate your Trump coverage, like calm down, because no one is going to pay attention to us if all we do is rip on him. So maybe things are changing.
Yeah, this ain't 2016 anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole new landscape. And people have, obviously, just because of the way that we've all voted this time, we're sick of your crap. We hate the media so much more now than we did even in 2016. So I think that they're starting to understand that just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Thus the groveling, you know?
The Five also weighed in about the Mika and Joe debacle. And here is Gutfeld.
I love this story, that I should greet this reversal with the best intentions. They've seen the light. They've changed their minds. Remember, J.D. Vance had negative views on Donald Trump, and now he's his VP. So there is chance for redemption, and it should be welcome. And the Republican Party has evolved because of this. The people who never thought they were going to be in the Republican Party, Musk, RFK, Trump, Rogan, they're all all Democrats. So we benefit from this. Now I'm back to reality. Morning Joe is hemorrhaging viewers. It appears that the network is for sale and you can't sell it in its current state. You can't just throw a fresh coat of paint on this turd. This move was a survival for the show and a survival for them. They had no options. If you noticed, they did not admit that they were lying. They didn't admit that they were contributing to the demonization hysteria that caused many, many bad things, including, of course, their present day humiliation. They didn't say the Hitler stuff was BS. We're sorry, and maybe we should reflect on that. Maybe we should take a few weeks off and think about what assholes we were.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't trust him. Morning Joe has changed his mind before. He was, up Trump's butt, claiming that he wanted to be his VP many years ago, and now he's doing this. This is self-preservation at its very worst.
You don't get more.
Yep, I'm going with the latter, not the former of his explanations for their behavior. I totally agree. I mean, I'd like to give them credit. I can't. I just can't. I can't give him any credit. The whole because listen, J.D. Vance may have changed his mind. You changed it. You changed your mind on Trump, but you never called him a Nazi for seven straight freaking years. You know what I mean?
No, my biggest complaint was that he was mean to people that were on his side.
You didn't like his tweets. I mean, it's a little different than demonizing somebody to the point where, other people are trying to kill him. You didn't do that nonstop.
Scott in the chat just said, and I'm not making this up, that Jessica Tarluv is sexy. And I just had to take a beat. A beat about that because
we all got to take
We just need to sit back and soak that one in.
Are you okay, Scott? Why are you gay?
What about that wretched voice?
Oh my
is
God.
Sexy.
I think
my
Scott
God.
likes to be abused, apparently.
With vocal fry. Like he wants to just be
Scott.
Wow, that Scott.
No, Scott. No.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of the show.
Yeah,
but
we had to take a beat with that one. You think she's sexy? Really?
No.
That's a first.
We do have Jessica Tarluv coming up later in the show, so that you can consider that my gift to you, Scott, because we will have some Jessica.
You're welcome, Scott. Yeah.
But back to the whole Mika and Joe thing. Yes. Sonny Hostin.
Oh, here we go.
Very upset. Very upset, you guys.
Look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power.
Oh my God.
Right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of mainstream media this election, but he went on Joe Rogan and reached 50 million people.
Yeah. I mean, she got some good points in there. It's true. He didn't just rely on Fox. In fact, Fox wasn't like a huge fan of him all the time. Take Brett Baier and some of those people, like who's it, Neil Cavuto. They're not always kind to him. You know, there's a lot of people at Fox that aren't always kind to him. So you can kind of take Fox out of the equation. I don't even really like Fox. You know, there's only, I like a couple of the shows on that network, but I mean, that's the thing. I think that they use Fox as a crutch a lot. Stop it. Stop using Fox as a crutch. People are turning to alternative news sources. They're looking at alternative media and podcasts and whatnot, and the Twitters, the social medias of the world. And you know what? If Sunny had it her way, she would shut those things down.
Yeah. She's just like Jen Psaki. They all care. They so want to silence voices with whom they disagree.
She talks about state-run media. That would be her idea of state-run media. She won't say that, but that's what they want. They want to censor all of those alternative voices. I take all the seats, lady.
Well, the best reaction to all of this came from Megyn Kelly. And so just hang on to your hats because it is amazing. And we'll show it to you right after we remind you about one of our very favorite products, Coat Defense.
Gosh, it's for dogs and animals. I got shampoo and I got powder right there.
The bread and butter product is their preventative powder. They call it a preventative powder, but it also works as a treatment powder for a lot of skin irritations and infections and issues that your dogs or cats or horses may have. And so many of the issues that irritate dogs' skin or their paws or like the in between the paws that give those paws that yeasty, honestly, I think is a really good smell, but you're not supposed to be able to smell that.
Shouldn't smell like Fritos. It shouldn't.
I love the smell, but
even though it's delicious, right?
So good, but really that is just the sign of a yeast infection. And so a lot of times people will be like, "Oh my God," and they'll run their dogs to the vet, and the vets will be like, "Oh yeah, they're allergic to everything. Here's Apoquel that you need to stay on, that your pet needs to stay on forever." Most of the time they do not. You're just throwing money at a problem that you don't need to do that.
And you could put this in ears too, you guys. Yeah, I put it in Theo's ears. Yeah.
That powder is a miracle worker. It is so effective at treating most of the things that make your dogs itch or chew on their toe beans or whatever the issue is. So before you spend a bunch of money at the vet, think about visiting coatdefense.com. When you use code CHICKS, you're going to save 15% off of your entire order. Again, it's coatdefense.com. Make sure also to check out their human products because they have a really nice shampoo that does not strip your hair at all. It's very, very gentle and it smells all citrusy. It's really, really good. So try coatdefense.com. Don't forget to use code.
And then you can use the voice on yourself. You say, "Oh my God."
Okay, now for the Megyn Kelly clip.
All right.
This is because she is us, essentially.
Right.
This is a hide your kids, hide your wives.
Hide them. Hide your dogs.
Because Megyn she does not mince words. This is why we love her. She has Glenn Greenwald on her show to talk about the Mika and Joe incident. Here she is.
I searched for a way to respond appropriately, and I called on my 10 years as a litigator in addition to my now 20 as a journalist, and I think I found the perfect phrase: go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves, you dishonest jokes of faux journalists. What an absurd farce that was, Glenn. Which one was insincere? He's Hitler? Or now we're going to speak truth to power and find a way of speaking to and working with Donald Trump? Which one was a lie?
I love that she even did this.
She's like, which one was a lie? I know, it's just I love it. It's so great. Some people don't like the cursing. I'm there for it. I'm there for it.
So there for it. Because that is how this is what we say to each other.
You guys, you were thinking it. You were thinking it.
Were.
Yeah, I was thinking it. She said it.
She says the things, and I love her for that.
I do too. I love how she's like, I pulled on my experience, my 30 years of cumulative experience, and this is what I came up with. I like that.
Oh my God. She's the absolute best.
Right.
All right. Moving on. That's enough Mika and Joe, right? That's like enough.
Yeah, because they really can go screw themselves, you know?
That's right. We've obviously been talking for the past couple of weeks about Trump's various appointments for his cabinet. And one name that some folks believe is missing from the list is Sarah Palin, who I will admit I had forgotten completely existed.
I did too. I mean, she was a big deal when you and I first started our site.
Yeah.
And
oh my God. Yeah.
That was in 2009. We started our site. We became political, Mock and I, around 2008, started our site and our brand and our thing. The Chicks on the Right started in 2009. That's when it was birthed. and I remember that we were big fans of Sarah Palin because that's when she burst onto the scene. And I feel like it's been a while since she's been on the scene.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing a few videos. There's a lot of people in the chat that are like, oh yeah, I forgot all about her.
Right.
Some people have not forgotten about her. She has like really, really hardcore fans who are feeling very slighted on her behalf. They call her essentially the mother of MAGA and believe that she's been ignored by Trump and that it's wrong. And this is like going to be impossible to read, but essentially what's on your screen right now, if you're watching, is somebody who posted on Instagram a big, long diatribe about how Sarah Palin deserves a shot at one of the cabinet seats. And it's not right that Trump has left her off. And so what's interesting about this is that Sarah Palin reposted it to her story and then also took another screenshot of somebody saying, what about you, in response to another selection being made for Trump's cabinet. And she wrote on that, thank you so much, Sarah Palin. And then she posted, and this is all in the same story, she also posted a selfie of herself getting ready saying, it's funny how politics works. And so to me, it seems like she is a little bitter that she has been left out.
Well, I mean, it does kind of suck if she feels that way. If she does feel that way and she feels like she had a key role in, I guess, generating a lot of movement for the movement.
Right.
Then that does suck for her. Politics is kind of shitty.
I mean, there's not jobs for everyone.
No, there isn't jobs for everyone. However, if she feels that way, maybe we don't know what went on in the background. I have no idea. Perhaps she jockeyed for a position, or maybe there was talk that we don't know of. I don't know. You and I weren't there. So it just, that does kind of suck. I mean, I like Sarah Palin.
Oh my God. There's
I really like her.
Nothing to not like. It's just she has kind of vanished a little bit.
She has, right.
Except, I guess, unless you are like a hardcore follower. And I don't know, does she do things? Like, is she podcasting or doing anything? I don't know. I have no idea.
I have no idea what she's doing these days. I cannot even, I can't speak to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting now because I think it was yesterday. Didn't we post a tweet from Cenk Uygur? Yeah, it was yesterday that we posted something from him where he was like, oh my God, he's like making sense. What's happening? And we needed showers and all of that.
Right.
So he is now reaching out to Elon Musk on Twitter and suggesting that he get put in charge of the Pentagon for Doge and saying, he would slash $400 billion easy. That would get you 20% to your goal of $2 trillion right out of the gate. Like the fact that he's saying, I have ideas. I want to play ball with you. And Elon is like, listen, I'm open to any and all suggestions. Like this is the beauty and the magic that is Twitter. That is the platform X right now.
It is, but that makes me incredible. That makes me very uneasy.
Well, again, it's an unpaid job. I don't know that he's going to get it, but he did offer like a really good suggestion after this, saying something about how and a lot of people have talked about this on both sides of the aisle, that people who are part of the DOD cannot then go and lobby, right? So there needs to be a separation, a time period during which they can't just go from one to the next. And I thought that was an interesting point. It wasn't a bad idea. So maybe he does have some good ideas. And the great thing about Elon is that he will listen to everybody.
Yeah, there should be a lot of that across the board in government. There should be like the no lobbying rule. You know, we should, what about, and then listen, I totally side note, there should be like the no insider trading thing. Like, why is it that Gavin Newsom just bought a new house in Malibu on a $200,000 salary? How do you do that? How is that even possible? How is he rich as balls? How?
That's a great question.
How are all of these people rich as balls listen, $200,000 is a lot of money. That's a fantastic salary. Thank you. Give that to me. But I mean, like, but you cannot buy homes. You can't buy plural homes in Malibu. I have a kid that lives in California and he's dying to get the hell out of there. Like you cannot buy multiple homes in California on a $200,000 salary. You can't do it. Why are these people so rich? You know, like we need to look into that too. They're public servants. So, yeah, that's another thing we need to look into. Why?
And I have a feeling it's going to be looked into. I mean, I think there's a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah.
Also, just this photograph, it's just another thing. It's just another thing that's amazing about the internet right now, that Trump is standing there with 3 people that are playing big roles in his administration. And all 4 of these people were Democrats.
Yeah, the Democrats. Yeah. That should tell you something about the Democrat Party. And the Democrats should be looking inward at themselves because of this picture alone. All of them defected.
And if you're listening and not watching, it's a picture of Elon, Tulsi, Trump, and RFK Jr.
Yeah.
All together.
I mean, and they're all like so gung-ho to make major change. I mean, these are all disruptors and they're all like, they're conservatives now for all, I mean, maybe not RFK, but for lack of a better phrase, they're basically on the right. They're conservative.
Yeah, they're anti-corruption, anti-censorship,
anti-war,
constitutionalists, essentially.
Go figure. And the Democrats drove them away.
So, question, because I'm second guessing myself. Has Kash Patel been named in charge of the FBI or not?
You know what?
Just a rumor?
I was looking so much last night for a final answer on that. And no, I don't see a final answer, but he is like all over the place. His name is everywhere. And that's all I see. That's the only name I see for the FBI.
Yeah, that's the same. And but I don't know if it's actually been confirmed. I know people are all bajiggity and worried about it.
Yeah.
But when you listen, when you listen to Kash Patel talk about changes that he would make at the FBI, man, I don't know how you don't want some of these changes. Here he is talking to Sean Ryan about what he would do at the FBI.
Yeah. Well, the people that hate him are the people that work in these places. Like the people that hate him right now are probably the people that work in the FBI.
Yeah,
they're like,
they're scared.
God, he's going to come in here and F things up. He's going to F up my cush gig that I got here on the 6th floor. I'm like just hanging out. He's going to ask me, what exactly do you do here? And I'm going to have to freaking answer it. Oh my God. Yeah, they're freaking out. I love this guy. I love him.
I mean, that I'm down with all of that.
Me too. I mean, it's about time somebody asked some of these questions. I hope to God he is the guy. I mean, it's like, that's all I see. So, I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be the guy. I hope he's the guy.
Yeah. Now imagine the lack of self-awareness it takes for somebody like Andy frickin' McCabe to be complaining about this potential pick from Trump.
Moving forward with a nomination of Kash Patel as FBI director, really it will provoke, I think, a massive amount of backlash. Now, you could make the argument that that's what he wants. He wants to disrupt. He wants to, provoke the ire of people like me and others who feel strongly about the institution and what it takes to run it faithfully and ethically and legally.
Oh my God.
None of which I think Kash Patel can do. But we'll have to see. You know, I think at the end of the day, Kash Patel is profoundly incapable of running the FBI. He is absolutely unqualified for that position.
God,
He's never run anything in his life that I'm aware of. He's never managed or led an organization of any type. His entire experience in the federal government is limited to about 3 years as a line attorney in DOJ headquarters. You know, the idea of him taking on the mantle of leader, essentially of the American law enforcement community, running an organization of 37,000 people, 400 locations in the United States, people serving all over the globe in incredibly sensitive capacities, working with the intelligence community, and really standing as the representative of law enforcement in this country. The idea that Kash Patel would walk into a room of police chiefs and sheriffs and command any level of respect and recognition is absurd.
Then go. Then those people can go.
He's talking about ethics. Andy McCabe is actually lecturing all of us on ethics. I don't think anybody, and nobody cares about your ire, dude. Nobody cares. You can take your ire.
If there are people in the department that can't respect Kash Patel, they are welcome to be shown the door.
Find another job, maybe that doesn't like suck off the taxpayer. Try that again. Get on Indeed. Go find a job.
Now, when it comes to other appointments yet to be made, a lot of people have been speculating that perhaps Ben Carson would be named as Surgeon General, but he put that rumor to rest yesterday. He said, "I'm excited to speak with President Trump about how I'll continue to advance the America First agenda, and I'm meeting with him in the near future. However, contrary to reports, I will not be serving as the Surgeon General." So that is not happening. I was telling you this morning, I'm hoping that it's the Latipo, the guy from Florida, who's Surgeon General in Florida right now, who is fantastic. He would make a fantastic Surgeon General.
He could even be completely out there and appoint Casey, what's her name? Casey Means. Casey Means. Yeah. He could, I would not take anybody off the plate at this point for a Surgeon General. Anybody just sort of like unconventional, you know?
Yeah. And, also, now that I mentioned Latipo, he could be chosen as a senator to replace Rubio.
Right.
So that's also a thing that could happen.
I mean, it could have been Jill Biden, you guys, because, she is a doctor.
She's a hell of a surgeon.
She is a hell of
Jill
a surgeon.
Biden.
She's a hell of a surgeon.
And then in other appointment news, we now have a new transportation secretary nominee, and that is another Fox News host, Sean Duffy, who you may know from such things as being on Real World, and then also being obviously a Fox host and being married to, what's her name?
Rachel
yes,
Duffy.
Rachel. I love her.
I love her too. Yeah,
they have like 7,000 kids.
Yeah,
and this is an interesting choice. So that's official. That is like a real appointment. That's not just a rumor. He did release a statement about that. So, he can't do any worse than Pete.
I know, right? Exactly.
So that was super interesting. And speaking of Casey Means, she was just on with Bill Maher talking about just the state of healthcare in the United States, and also about how RFK Jr. aims to change that for the better. And she's all about it. Here's why.
Because I think they just are in this world of doctors know everything. And I think you're telling us in medical school you learn doctors don't. I always say, if they know everything, why do you always have to get a second opinion?
Well, if they knew everything.
You're saying it's an opinion. And by the way, the second one never matches the first one. They're always guessing. I'm not saying they're corrupt, although there is some of that.
If they knew everything, then why would we be spending $4.5 trillion per year on healthcare costs and life expectancy is going down in the United States? Why are 80% of healthcare costs going towards chronic illnesses that are rooted in diet and lifestyle. Yet at the vast majority of American medical schools, doctors in training are not taking a single nutrition course. And so you have to ask these questions. If we were crushing it, we would not be spending 2x every other country in the entire world and have the lowest life expectancy of any developed country in the entire world. We are the sickest of the top 11 high-income countries in the world. We have the highest infant and maternal mortality rates, and our life expectancy is 10 years less than our friends in Japan and Switzerland. Right now, according to the Journal of American Medical Association, the average American man in America, age 73 is their life expectancy. It is 83 in Japan and Switzerland. This is something we should all be outraged about. And only one party in our election cycle this year was talking about chronic illness. The words chronic illness, as far as I know, never came out of the Harris campaign's mouth. And I think that was a misstep, because Americans are, I think, tired of being gaslit about the fact that there's not a problem right now. And when we look around us, and we know there is, and Trump has asked RFK to do 3 simple things. He's asked to get the corruption out of the U.S. health agencies, produce uncompromised evidence-based research for our health guidelines, and reverse the trends of the chronic disease epidemic in 2 years for children and adults so that we can show up for our 250th anniversary of America stronger than ever. That sounds pretty good to me.
I think she'd make a great Surgeon General. She's an ENT.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I personally think she'd be great because it's such a she has such a comprehensive view of medicine. She's not just, obviously she's a specialist, she's an ENT, and she's an accomplished, doctor in her own right. But I mean, like her book is great. If you guys are interested in her book, it's called Good Energy. I'm in the middle of it right now. She's a brilliant lady. She's really great. And I think she would work really well in line with RFK. Obviously they have a lot of the same goals. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be a great pick. Yeah.
Well, we'll see, because there's still picks to be made. And so every time he names somebody, it's like the world explodes, and it's so fun to watch it. So we'll see what happens. Piers Morgan had a very interesting panel on to talk about Trump's picks. And one of the picks is Tulsi Gabbard, of course, for DNI. And people are super upset about it. One of those people is Joe Walsh, not of the Eagles, but the former Republican congressman who's like a complete psycho now.
Yeah.
And he got leveled by comedian Dave Smith about the Tulsi Gabbard pick. Please enjoy.
Let me go to Jillian. Let me go to Jillian. For an asset, because everything she's done the past 10 years and said has been exactly what Russia would want her to say or do. So she's either an asset or a dupe.
That's the dumbest standard ever. Who cares? If I said Saddam Hussein doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, that might be exactly what Saddam Hussein wants me to say. That doesn't mean anything. You see, Piers, this is the trick here. And I'm sorry, I know you want to go to Julian, but the trick is that the same way they used to say Trump-Russia collusion, they wouldn't say Donald Trump's in a conspiracy with the Russians, you see, because that's actually meets the criminal code. And then so you just say collusion, because what does that even mean? They could have had a phone call. Okay, they're colluding, but that's totally legal. So when you say she's a Russian asset, you give this wink and a nod like she's a traitor, when what it means, and Piers, you disagree with me on this topic too, but listen, the argument is that there were 1 million off-ramps to the war in Ukraine, and that the West chose to not take any of them, and that this war could have been avoided, and it could have been negotiated away. Now, the idea that if someone makes this argument, your counter to that is to say that you're a Putin asset. This is so, first off, it's just despicable, and it's profoundly stupid. It makes absolutely no sense at all. So listen, at least during the original McCarthyism period, at least during the House Committee on American Activities, at least back then, there were some communists. Nobody is loyal to Vladimir Putin. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You're entitled. No, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is entitled to her opinion as a citizen of this country. But if for 10 years your opinion is identical to Russian propaganda, we are entitled to question that. And someone like
yes,
that,
you're saying nothing, and I'm entitled to make the point that that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
You both made your points. Let me bring it. Okay. Time out. Let's bring in Jillian.
Jillian's like, I got nothing. That was awesome.
Yeah, I can't top that.
Jillian's like, I may actually turn straight for this guy because that was hot. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was just glorious.
Honestly.
Absolutely glorious. All right, so we've talked about some appointments and all the good stuff going on in Trump world, but we also like to spend some time in every show showing you some crazy as well. And there's some crazy people and crazy stuff happening, namely across the pond in the UK. The Prime Minister there has decided that the best way to go about attacking the problem of illegal immigration, because it's happening in the UK too, they're being completely overrun because they cannot just do the basic things to secure their own border. He has a new idea, and here is the idea. He wants to pay the countries from whence the illegals are coming to stop sending the illegals to the UK.
Oh my God, I can't. You cannot make this shit up. You can't. You cannot. Or just don't let them in. Just don't let them in.
Control your border, moron.
Why would you pay them? And why would you?
Oh my God.
These people. Oh my God. Hey, listen, let's pay you not to break the law.
Right. Okay. Like we should stop paying shoplifters. Start paying shoplifters. Like here's a monthly stipend so that you stop busting into all of the convenience stores and making everything have to be put behind the shelves.
Right. Because we know it's so hard to not break the law. Let's pay you not to break it. We know it's so hard, criminals. Oh my God.
It's so dumb. But we're no better. We're no better, you guys, because right now the Laken Riley case, the court case is happening. And it turns out that the roommate of her killer testified yesterday that they were at the Roosevelt Hotel together in September of 2023, and they got a taxpayer-funded flight to Georgia. So the reason that he was in Athens is because of our money.
Yeah. So you paid for him to get into the country.
Oh my God.
Several times you paid for him to be here, to live freely after he broke the law. Your government flew a gang member to Georgia with your money, and then he proceeded to brutally murder that beautiful, accomplished young lady. And now you're paying for his lawyer. How does that make you feel? So when these schmucks on the left are like, oh my God, like deportation is so mean, just remind them of all of that. Because listen, I honestly think I like the idea of like using cruise ships and, you know, like old tankers and Spirit Airlines to send them back. I think they're all great ideas.
What about cannons? Has anyone thought about cannons?
Cannons would be great. I like cannons too. But
I mean, if they can like shoot T-shirts up into stadiums, can't
we could just shoot them right back. Just put them in there, you know, especially the small ones. Really, just the not young kids, but small ones.
God.
Just roll them up in there. I'm so tired of hearing about this.
I know.
It's like, and when I there's actually a friend of mine from high school who is so distraught that Trump got elected this time. I mean, like, it's a dude, which I hesitate to even call him a dude because I want to send him tampons on a daily basis because I see some of the stuff that he posts, and he's just so upset by it. And I'm like, do you cry for Laken? Because I saw a post that her best friend did yesterday, and I have a best friend. And I cannot imagine what. Right,
Hi.
she's right there.
I'll
get emotional talking about it because I see this girl who lost her best friend, and like she's still like, I cannot imagine being that girl, being Laken's best friend, and having to live without her best friend. It is senseless. He should not have been in this country. That should not have happened. And then, not to mention her parents. You know, I mean, her mom and her dad, her like siblings that have to deal with the fact that they lost this girl. And that's just one. That's just Laken. There are other people in this country who have been touched by crime because of these people who are not supposed to be here. It's senseless, you guys.
Yeah,
Not
and all
okay.
the bull. I hate it when you hear the argument from the left that's like, but migrants don't commit, crimes at the same rate as people that were
Oh my
born
God.
here do. And I'm like, it doesn't matter because one is too many. And so if you remove all the illegals, you've removed any potential of any of them committing
Right.
any crimes. That's
Right.
this is just math. And so
Yeah.
that excuse is always just so lame to me. I cannot believe that people even use it, but
Right.
they do. It's
And-
I hear it constantly.
And then on top of that, the ones who don't commit heinous crimes committed a crime by crossing the border illegally.
Right.
And that's not okay either. It's not. So quit making excuses for these people. Stop it.
Exactly. And now, Tom Homan, who we've been going on and on about, as the borders are, he is going to take care of some business. And yet there are all these mayors and governors of Democrat states that are insisting, we're not helping. We're going to stand in the way, in fact. And we're sanctuary this, we're sanctuary that. And we are not going to participate in any of the steps that he is taking to deport some of these people. And so one of those people is Arizona governor, which I still cannot believe that she's a governor.
Right.
Katie Hobbs I realized who she reminds me of, and it's her
Who?
voice. The Kavanaugh chick. What was her name?
I don't know. Her voice reminds me of my stepmother's, and I've heard my stepmother is like otherworldly annoying AF.
What's the Kavanaugh lady, you guys? Who's the lady that accused?
I'm gonna need some caffeine.
Yes, her. What's her name?
Whatever.
Why
I
can't
don't
think
know.
of it?
I've blocked it out. I've totally blocked it out. But she's
Yes, Christine Blasey Ford.
Blasey.
That is who Katie Hobbs reminds
Really?
me of in demeanor and voice.
The
and
high
just-
pitched,
Oh,
the
God.
high pitched Melanie Griffith voice from Working Woman.
It's
Remember?
just awful. And so
You guys-
here is Katie Hobbs talking about basically not helping with the deportation that Tom Homan wants to do. And she drives me crazy.
Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities. And I've been incredibly clear about that.
So you disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities.
Oh my God.
We need those resources here. And the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
I cannot with that woman. Laken fought for her life for 17 minutes.
I can't.
17 minutes. Yeah. That biatch needs to be reminded of all of that. Somebody just needs to get in her face. If I were in her face, if I had the opportunity, I would be reminding her of that as often as humanly possible.
Oh my God. And she's in a border state for crying out loud.
Why people put her in charge of that is beyond me. Like, shame
in
on you,
charge of
Arizona.
anything. The fact that
Right.
she's in charge of anything is terrifying.
God, and her voice.
I know. I
Oh,
know.
God,
it's
I
the
can't
worst.
Stand it. Yeah.
All right, switching gears, we need to talk about the fact that still, even now, there are still people on the left who are insisting that the reason people didn't vote for Kamala is purely based in racism and sexism. I cannot believe this is still a thing, but Anna Navarro is one of those people. Sonny Hostin, of course, one of those people. And they had a little bit of a discussion on it on The View. We'll start with Anna, and then Sarah Haynes, again, trying to show a little bit of reason, a little bit of logic and common sense, but not having much luck.
I'm not saying, he says that folks see everything through the lens of racism and sexism. Not everything. But if you're not seeing racism and sexism in America, then you need to clean your lenses.
But
Because, this is something that I also find interesting, that when Democrats and liberals talk about race or sexism, it's immediately labeled as identity politics, which has a negative connotation. It's a term that Republicans have coined, and it's been very effective. But when Donald Trump goes to Miami and talks to Cubans, that's not identity politics. When Donald Trump goes to Dearborn, Michigan, and promises Arabs something, that's not identity politics. When he goes to Jews and promises them the opposite, that's not identity politics.
Well, let me jump in here, because I think, Sonny, what you say is valid, and I think absolutely that is part of the problem. But when we hang our hat on that's the only problem, or
No
the
one's
main,
saying it's the only.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying the backlash is that when people hang their hat on that being the only reason, any criticism of Vice President Harris must be because she's a woman or she's black. I voted for, thank you, I voted for Hillary Clinton, not because she was a woman, she was the most qualified. I voted for Vice President Kamala Harris because more of my values fell in line with what she stood for. So all of that can be true. There is something here to the socioeconomic class, though, that is crossing racial divide in academic and education, too. Americans with a college degree 30 years ago were roughly 20% of the population and held the same percentage of household wealth as those without a degree. 30 years later, this is important, Americans with a college degree account for 38% of the population and 73% of the household wealth. The haves and the have-nots have gone so far apart that they are rising up right now, and they cross every line of our democracy.
Yeah. Well, she's going to be fired soon.
She and Sonny have been getting into some scrap.
Right. I feel like her days are numbered on that show. She's speaking too much truth. I mean, it's like, we can't have that, Sarah.
Well, and so, I mean, the constant need to bring up the identity politics is ridiculous, but the left is famous for it. And now they're showing their elitism. Here's some rando suited up dude that your fists are going to form. You guys, I'm just warning you right now.
Stand this guy.
Fists are about to form.
People are wondering why we will never have free college in the United States.
Why is that?
And why we will continue to lag behind other countries in reading and writing. It's because the only voter base that is still voting Republican is non-college educated whites. If non-college educated whites didn't vote in this election, Kamala Harris would have won in a landslide. The reason that there will never be free college is because people who have a college education vote Democrat. The reason that we will never have free college in the United States of America is because non-college educated whites are the only voter base continuing to prop up the Republican Party. And the only way the Republican Party can stay in power is by making sure that as few white people get a college education as possible.
This guy is so dumb.
Oh my God.
Like, education didn't make you smart, dude.
No.
It didn't. And that is unfortunate. You should probably get your money back. I mean, at least I'm self-aware that my master's degree was worthless.
But also raise your hand if you're a white college education person who voted for Trump.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah, this is the thing. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Again. So he doesn't know. God bless him. God bless him. That's the only reason we're not going to have free college. I can't with these people. Okay.
Well, and also that guy clearly doesn't know what free actually means.
No,
none of the people on the left do.
No. I'm very entitled.
So you guys know, obviously, with the pick of RFK and Nicole Shanahan as a byproduct of the RFK pick, and Casey Means and other people who are very, very concerned about the overall health of America. One of the things that we're starting to hear more and more about is how awful seed oils are for people's health. Like they are killers. And so to show us MAGA folks, there are actually people on the left now drinking seed oil to like prove a point.
I'll show you.
Right.
And I just can't even believe this is a thing, but you guys,
Okay.
it is a thing. Check this out.
Give a fuck that they're saying seed oils cause inflammation, and they seem to be the subject of every single post. It used to cost me $200 to buy myself a Smile, 2 OC80s, and a gram of Coke.
I can't. That is just so gross. I'm so grossed out by this right now.
Oh my gosh.
Delicious. Don't be a pussy.
Okay, well, you know what? That right there is your average educated liberal. There you go. Educated. He probably has a PhD, that guy.
Oh my God.
It's probably from Harvard.
Happening.
Yeah, it's like you'll show us.
Yesterday too, we talked about, we showed a lot of clips from the UFC fight that Trump went to along with his posse, right? That included so many folks. We showed that the winner of the fight, like, did the Trump dance. We talked about the fact that NFL players, college players are all doing the Trump dance. We played Malay doing the Trump dance. So many people are doing it. And Jessica
Scott, you ready?
Scott thinks is sexy.
You paying attention, Scott? Here she comes.
She is such a freaking killjoy.
Yeah.
So here is what she said about the Trump dances.
And there's a slip and slide?
There is a slip and slide, in and outside.
And they have Snoopy snow cones?
Yes, they have Snoopy snow cones.
I'm in then. Jessica, why doesn't anyone want to go to the party?
Because they're deporting little children of color. So I guess we've gotten to the portion of the Trump era where we have moved past shut up and dribble. And now it is fantastic for athletes to be talking about their politics or expressing their politics, because that was one of the critical points when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, when LeBron James was speaking out. And I get it. Donald Trump wants to take a victory lap, and he won, and he should. And I think that liberals are doing the right thing, and they are thinking about how his coalition was formed, what part of our coalition was lost in order for him to make that win. But I don't think that kind of bragging that the people who don't consume the news are the ones that are winning in this, because that is dangerous. And I'm not saying that there weren't people on the news who misinformed their listeners. We're going to be talking about this in a later block. I think that a lot of people did their fans or followers a big disservice there. But it is a bad situation for the country to be in if people don't trust the people in these positions. And that doesn't mean that they don't have to live up to a certain standard. But I do think that's dangerous.
Yeah. So stop misinforming everybody. That's the whole point. That's why people turn to different sources of media, because they can't trust the news.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh my God, that's so bad and dangerous. Okay.
Yeah. I don't like her. Just don't like anything about her. It's
awful.
And the dance thing, I know a lot of people are like, it's hypocritical for conservatives to say that it's fine for these people and, on these sports teams and whatnot to dance, when before we were like, shut up and play. I honestly think it's different. It's different when you are just going like this than when you are not standing for the national anthem. I think that I feel that that's different. I think it's apples to oranges when you're just kind of celebrating a play or something. That's how I look at it. I honestly think it's different. If that is wrong of me to think it's different, then okay.
I completely agree with you, because what we complained about with the Kaepernicks and others is that they were absolutely trashing their own country that gave them so much. A Trump dance is a moment of celebrating that makes no political statement whatsoever, except to be like, hey, Trump is joyful and has this funny dance and I'm going to replicate it.
Right.
That's it. That's the message.
It's a freaking dance.
I mean, like it's just joy. I thought the left loved joy.
Yeah. They're full of shit. They don't really like joy at all. Look at Jessica Tarluv. Is there any joy there?
She's so freaking miserable.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I really think that it's different. But, they're going to try to draw a correlation. But you being a commie is totally different than me dancing. Okay.
You guys, there are people on the left. Remember, was it last week that we played that weirdo who was like, the spirits told me that Kamala is going to win still? Remember, like, talks to spirits or whatever?
The chick with the black hair and the bangs. And
But it's not just the people who believe in spirits. It's just like regular schmoes who also say this election is not over. Case in point.
I think we're going to have a major announcement within the next 2 weeks. I don't think Donald Trump will ever be sworn into office. I think we're going to find out about what will be considered and called the crime of the century.
Oh my God.
I think we're going to hear about this soon. I know we only really have about 2 weeks until elections start having to be certified. I think we're going to see some crazy shit happen. I think everyone needs to get prepared. There's no way they're just going to let this go if everything I'm seeing is accurate. So get prepared.
Okay.
Shit's going to hit the fan.
Okay. What do you want to bet that guy like paints his toenails red for fun? I don't.
Oh my God.
I'm not listening. This is. I will say that like we've got to protect Trump before the inauguration because of weirdos like this. You know what I mean? There are people out there that they are mentally ill. They have such extreme TDS that I do worry. Like, I'm just like, can you just make sure he gets there and like he's all safe and sound and all of the people in his cabinet are safe and sound and we all get past the goalposts, you know, because these people are freaking crazy.
They're lunatic. I do worry about inauguration. And
me too.
There's been a lot of time. There's still a lot of time for crazy people to plan crazy shit.
Yeah. So definitely keep praying and make sure that, you know, everybody he needs to get past that point. And then I'll be like, okay, I can breathe a little bit because God, they're nuts.
Completely crazy.
Yeah.
There's a TikToker who made a fantastic point about abortion and 2A in like the shortest TikTok ever. This was perfectly stated.
Your uterus has more confirmed kills than my AR. I'm clearly not the problem.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Really true.
What a perfect point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yep.
And then one more thing ahead of DD. This was something that we meant to get to yesterday and just didn't and ran out of time for. But like, you know how there's all of these people that have said terrible, terrible things about Trump. Mika and Joe, perfect example, where they're like, oh yeah, he's literally Hitler. And then they're like, can we please come to Mar-a-Lago and hang out with you for a little while?
Right.
There's so many of these people. So there's a comedian who did a parody of this very phenomenon, pretending that he is a British parliamentarian who has tweeted terrible things about Trump in the past. And so this is what it would look like. This is not real. This is satirical. But I watched it thinking about until about midway through that it was real. And then I realized it was parody. And it is so perfect. Check this out.
So, Minister, Donald Trump is president-elect once again. What are your thoughts on his emphatic win? Well, look, obviously, I congratulate Donald Trump on his victory, and I look forward to working with his administration over the next 4 years. You've got some bridges to build with him, though, haven't you, given that in January 2017 you said, Donald Trump is a neo-Nazi and a disgusting sexual predator. God help the United States. The Prime Minister and I have already had several meetings with President Trump in order to maintain a healthy relationship that benefits both countries, and I think that's what's important right now. When you met the President, did he mention this tweet you wrote back in March 2017 when you said, how can anyone spend time with Donald Trump and not come to the conclusion that he's an unscrupulous, egotistical, misogynistic fascist? God, I hate him. What I'm focused on is making sure that our strong working relationship with the United States continues under President Trump and his team. Even though you said this in July 2017, Donald Trump is contemptible, vile and odious, a tornado of corruption and depravity in a flappy blue suit. He makes me sick. Donald Trump is a man who speaks as he finds, but I think that it's important that we find some common ground in the national interest, and that's what myself and the Prime Minister are focused on doing in the coming months. Yes. So presumably you no longer think what you tweeted in December 2017 when you said, anyone who tries to forge working relationships with Trump is an unprincipled, morally bankrupt charlatan who should be treated with contempt and total disdain. I don't care who you are, if you want to work with that fascist monster, you're a piece of shit. The transatlantic relationship is one of the most important relationships that the UK has, and I don't think that bringing up tweets that I posted several years ago should have any bearing on what we're trying to achieve today. Even though you said in January 2018, oh God, don't ever forget these things I'm saying about Donald Trump. Seriously, if you find me reeling off some spurious bullshit in years to come about looking forward to working with Donald Trump because he's been re-elected, God forbid, then take it as read that I've sold my soul for the sake of my political career and should be kicked in the face for the rest of my life by the people who voted for me. So much has changed in 8 years, and I think that it's incumbent upon us to extend the hand of friendship to President Trump for the sake of national and financial security. Okay, if that's the case, perhaps you should also change your profile photo. Oh, shit.
It's so true. They're all
that. The greatest. Oh my God.
They're all that guy. Uh-huh. He's a charlatan.
I love that. Charlatan, fascist. And if anybody ever tries to work with them, they're fascists too.
Piece of shit. That's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my God, I love that. All right, it is time for your DD.
You guys, I aspire to be this unbothered as this dog. I want to be.
How did they train this dog? This is amazing.
This dog has been doing this since he was a wee pup. Okay. And there was music. This kid is a cheerleader, obviously. But this poor dog every day is like, damn it. We got to do this again. Again. Wait till the last flip, though. Like this
is amazing.
It is truly remarkable. Hold on. You're going to wait till the dismount. Wait, hold on. It's coming. It's coming. That one. Oh my God. I can't. That dog is everything.
That's some training right there.
I want to be that unbothered. That's what I want to be. We should all aspire to be that. It's fantastic.
For my pillow talks today, I'm starting out with something a little bit different because it's from X. And I found this guy. I'm going to show his name because I need to give him full and proper credit. Ramin Nazabov. And I follow Ramin because he creates corporate logos and he is a genius. Okay. An absolute genius. So I'm going to show you 3 of his logos that I thought were so freaking amazing. And I love this kind of creativity because I don't have it. And I'm so in awe of it when other people do have it. And so he creates company logos. I think we'll show you the first one. It is for a yoga company called Silent Stone.
That's cool.
Is that not the coolest?
That's really cool. Yeah, that's really neat.
I love this one. He also did something for a French company, and the name of it is the Paris Tennis School.
Oh, that's really cool. Yep. It's really, really neat.
You guys, I could never have this kind of creativity.
That's really cool.
I just couldn't. And then my favorite one of all is a company called the Polar Bar. Look at this, you guys.
Oh my God, how neat is that?
Can you even?
I mean, it's just amazing. That's so cool.
It's perfect. There's no better logo that will ever be created in the history of ever.
Yeah, that is perfection. That's amazing.
I just love that so much.
We should have him create a logo for us. We can't afford it, but wouldn't that be amazing? I wonder what he would do.
It's brilliant. I mean, it's just
brilliant. That is absolute brilliance. Yeah.
Anyway, I love him and I follow him, and you should too because he's amazing.
That is
all right. For people who like the store Home Goods, and I know that there's a lot of folks out here who love Home Goods.
I've seen this. I think I know what you're going to show, and I love it so much. I love Home Goods. My daughter and I will just go to Home Goods for an hour just to kill time. The greatest place ever. Always full of so much crap you don't need.
So much crap you don't need.
It's the greatest. I love Home Goods.
But if you're looking for something, original and particular,
totally,
you can find it at Home Goods, as this couple finds perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, why is it quiet?
I can't hear it. Oh my God, you got to hear it, you guys. You got to hear it. This is a great one.
Why is there no sound?
I don't know, but you got to be able to hear it.
I'll have to save it for tomorrow. I don't know what happened to the sound, but we'll play it tomorrow.
So good. You have to play it tomorrow because it's so good.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully there's sound on this next one. So my husband sent me this. It was a guy is there no sound? Oh my God. Do none of these have sound?
No sound.
Oh man. Okay, none of these are gonna work. If there's no sound, they're not gonna work.
Sorry,
I'll
guys.
have to save them for tomorrow, you guys. I'm
Hotel
sorry.
life. It's hotel life. That's
yeah,
what's happening there.
I don't have my normal computer. Everything is borked, and
But listen,
so
at
I'm
least
sorry
you got
about
to see a
that.
cheerleader dog, you know?
Exactly.
So there's that, right? There's that. Everybody bring it in.
Wait, no. No. We still have all kinds of thank yous.
Oh, that's right. Because we get it.
So
let me look at
let me
Star's
start.
stuff.
Let me start with locals and also with our not super sticker, but Venmo that we got from our friend Dana yesterday, who said, "Hi, beautiful chicks, asking for prayers of all denominations for surgery today, 11/19." She said, "Bunion and joint after a double hip surgery. This should be easy, but I'm still a little anxious about an 8-week recovery."
I didn't know
Love
she had
y'all.
I didn't know you had a double hip surgery, Dana.
I know, man. That is brutal.
It is brutal.
And then also over on locals, Judy Flood said, "The Dems accuse us of cheating. Bob Casey needs to concede." And yes, that's absolutely true. He does. Tammy Foco says, "Morning chicks, with all these powerful cabinet picks, does anyone else feel like this country is experiencing an actual exorcism? It feels likely all the evil we've been forced to swim in is finally being forced back into the shadows where it belongs. Praying for number 47 and all of his warriors."
It is a giant enema, is what it is.
It is. All right, now you.
All right. C-Noons, listening with Booski today after him having 3 teeth pulled yesterday, like a champ. Percocet helps. He loves you chicks too. Balls. Leah, Hezbollah aimed at my city 5 hours ago. Direct fall on a private home. Miraculously, only one light boo-boo. YouTube, grr. God is great. Take my money. Thank you, Leah. John Newbaum, regarding pen recount. So Daisy, should we not pay taxes if we don't feel like it? Yeah, and it's every day I don't feel like it. So this is exactly how I feel. Andrea Viola, Mika and Joe can take a walk down the F-off pier. Trump taking this meeting just shows he is already showing weakness, just like he did the first time. It's an interesting take. I think he's a little different than he was the first time. So we'll see how that pans out. Maybe it's like the whole keep your enemies closer, right? Andrea again, this time for nice is over all the way around. Okay. The photo and the story. Joe Scarborough is what happens when you have no compass. Either Trump is an Austrian man with a tiny mustache or he is not. Can't have it both ways. The Great Gatsby. Mika and Joe act like they were a sanctioned country, not the two opinion talking heads that they are.
Right? They were so self-important in that whole thing.
Tom J. I think Joe, Mika, The View, etc. have all remained friends or friendly with Trump in private. He admitted on Rogan he gave permission to these types to trash him on air if it helps them make money. That's an interesting take. Karen Elliott, unless Morning Joe apologizes to the American people, they can suck it and take all the seeds. No. The Badass Coach, thank you for that super sticker. Sarah Davis Waterbury, thank you for both of the super stickers. Rachel Gerhardt, Chunky Yogurt wants to be a part of Trump's Hitler government, the Pentagon no less. He hates Israel. Sure, problem, Chunky. Keep him far away. I totally agree with you, Rachel. I don't like that guy. Keep him away from this administration. Alexandra, I saved my life going carnivore by doing my own research. Doctors don't know squat about nutrition. Okay. Marcus Drake, free is a buzzword the left uses to pander to those who are inclined to want something for nothing. We know better.
Yep.
Teresa Raimundo, what is the point of free college if we can't get them through grammar school and high school with the ability to read? So true. Leah, by the way, I bet Chunk wants the Pentagon gig so he can immediately cut all aid and arms sales to Israel. That man is a big anti-you-know-what.
It's true.
True. And Luke. Hey,
Hot Luke.
Hot Luke. Hey, lovely ladies. Love you, highly educated people who voted for what's right for the United States. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
I almost forgot about the super stickers. I'm sorry, you guys. I was wanting to hug you so bad. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, it's Tuesday. One more day with Mock this week. And then she is off and running to South Carolina for the next week and a half. And I'm holding down the fort. So you guys enjoy her. Soak her in tomorrow. We hope to see everybody here tomorrow. Have a wonderful day today. And we'll talk to you then. Bye, everybody.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.